Good morning. Welcome to Winnipeg. Okay, what's happening here? Got a comment from one of the viewers. And the comment went like this. If you take your anchor chain after you've done the brass black thing and you burnish it with a medium to stiff brush, which is this, I was thinking I could maybe use a larger brush. I just thought of that now. Anyway, it helps to get rid of the powdery. Okay, I'm going to drop the comment down if I remember, and then you'll be able to read exactly what he says. But you can get rid of that powdery buildup of oxidation that's on the outside of that chain. If you remember yesterday I said the brass does not turn black. What you're seeing is the powder coating on the outside of it. So he thought that it might improve the look of the chain. And I thought, yeah, that's right. I knew about burnishing and stuff like that and how it works, kind of. And so I thought, let's give it a try. And what I'll do is we'll stick the macro lens on, and maybe we'll have it focused right in the center here, so you can see it nice and close. And I'll try and get the light just right so that it will reflect back up off the metal. And then we'll burnish it and just see if it changes. One thing's for sure, it's going to help to get rid of that powder that comes off on your fingers or whatever it happens to touch against. Okay, we'll do that later. We are still in step 7. We got to get the anchor chain down, or at least know what we're going to do. I think it was military modeler Paul sort of asked me a question. Do you think I forget how he put it, but there was a question mark there, and the idea is it a good idea to be hanging the anchor from the chain? And or he said he wouldn't do that. He would fasten the top securely. But what I would like to do is I would like to have the chain visible and have it hanging down. And I think what we can do is when it hangs down maybe about that far from the bottom of the hose pipe, I can possibly get it twisted just right so that the anchor looks good. That's the problem with hanging an anchor from a chain on a model. You sort of want the anchor to be sort of broadside of you so that you can see the overall shape of it. So that is what's against it as far as I'm concerned. But no, from where I'm sitting, I can't see the bows of the ships there. But I'm pretty sure on one of those over there, the anchor is hanging down. Maybe. Yeah, for sure it's not on the submarine. Although the submarine did have an anchor, if you remember. It did have one or two. It just had one anchor. Well, I guess that's all it needed. Okay. I may have made a mistake in painting the hull when I did. It could be that I should have waited until after. In fact, I know for a fact, that degaussing cable is supposed to go all around the outside, that brass wire they were supposed to glue on. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. First of all, I got to straighten it out. Now I know how to straighten wire, but then when we glue it on, we're going to be making a mess of the paint that's on the side, so we are going to have to respray. But on the other hand, the top of the gunnel has to be painted anyway. Like if you notice here, we're seeing the bare plastic right here where I'm touching. Well, it either has to be this color or the gray. I would say probably the gray of the hull is what it should be. You know what? I just noticed we've got little marks here and here and here, and yeah, there's got to be some sort of fair leads, I guess, would have to be put on there eventually. Maybe when we move further ahead, we'll be doing that. Anyway, it seems to me that this particular kit takes a lot more pre-planning. In other words, go through, like Aussie Frenchman said, go through the manual twice. and make notes. You know, well, that's sort of not my forte. Uh, uh, but it's a good idea. You know, think ahead. Um, yeah, I should have glued that wire on first, but I didn't. So it's too late now. We got to make the best of it. But anyway, let's. What do I want to do today? Well, I want to burnish our chain. I also want to try and get the silver paint on the spotlights over there. And if it seems like it dried enough, then maybe the microcrystal clear today. That's going to be interesting. I can understand how that's going to work as long as I don't know if it's going to flow over the, you know, we're going to be trying to put a drop of microcrystal clear on a dome, and I'm afraid it could maybe go over the edges. But anyway, we'll figure it out. I guess if worst comes to worst, a person can just paint over it. I'm pretty sure you can paint over that stuff. Never tried it, but it makes sense to me. But I think it's going to help. I think it's going to give it a glassy look, like we're looking at some sort of a lens. Uh, well, actually, on the spotlight, the lens is the reflector in the background. That's what changes the focuses the light. The like the lens on the front of the camera bends the light. Whereas on that, all that would be on the front there would be just a glass cover to protect the inside of the light. Okay, let's move on here. I'm starting to get myself painted into a box. Yeah, let's set up now and just for the fun of it here, get our macro lens on and. Oh, this stick that you often see, I know that if I mentioned this before, but just in case there's somebody new watching, what I know is that if I have when the lens cap is off, and I put this like this, I know that this is as close as I can get to something and still be in focus. By the way, this lens will focus this close and then all the way out to infinity. And it actually is quite sharp. It would be a small telephoto lens. It's 105 millimeter. It's a fixed lens. It's not a zoom lens. So it would be like a 105 millimeter. It'd be like a 2-power lens on a full frame camera. For those of you that are camera buffs. Okay, great lens, as you know. Yeah, it's given us a lot of, you might say, pleasure. We've been able to see stuff that you don't normally get to see in model shows. You get to see the mistakes really, really good, don't you? Yeah. Okay, let's recompose here and try and burnish this thing. You know, it's funny. I never get tired of doing this, and I've been doing this sort of thing since way back in the early 60s. Now, as it turns out, I got it pretty much right to start with. I didn't need my stick. Okay, now we'll get her in focus here, more or less in the center of everything. I know that's not focused, is it? Open the lens up so I can get the absolute sharpest focus going on. Maybe I'll get the record on so we can sync up the sound. And we'll try and get it in the center of the chain. I might be just a little bit too close here. And pinpoint focus. Okay, we're at f4.5 for those of you who are camera buffs. We're going to stop her down to about 32. I think it'll probably go all the way, just for the fun of it. Let's see, it'll go all the way to f51. It won't go to f51 unless it's zoomed right in like that. Okay, 25, that should be pretty good. If we keep the chain in the center of the view there when I'm brushing back and forth. Okay, I think we're just about ready to go here. Maybe I should get my spotlight down, and we'll bring the light in like this, and hopefully it's going to reflect off of some of the metal, and we'll be able to see the burnishing going on. Otherwise, it's going to be just a little bit too dark. Maybe I should open her up just a bit here, override the ISO. Okay, just to show you here, that's 3 stops over, which is way too much. So let's just crank her down here. We'll go one stop over. In other words, the white of the paper towel is going to look white on the screen. That's what I go by anyway. Okay, let's do our thing here. I think we're about as close as I can get. I can't get any closer without using the super macro. And as I said yesterday, it's a exercise in frustration, so I'm not going to use it. Okay. Oh yeah, I was going to get my spotlight. I'll be right back. Okay, here's the spotlight. And we'll see how this is going to change the... I had it on the model ships so that they look good. I do that every morning, may as well tell you. I think some of you probably already know. Yeah, I want those four ships to look really good. All right, let's see what's going to happen here to our image on this screen. Well, it dropped the ISO anyway, didn't it? Is that going to be better or worse? Yeah, you can sort of see the glinting of the metal there, so we're going to be able to tell if it's going to burnish or not. Well, let's give it a whirl here. I mean, there's nothing much else I can change. So we're going to just brush back and forth right in the center here. Now, I know that this chain is going to have to be turned over because we're basically just getting one side. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing a bit of a shine on there. Okay, it works. All right, too many cameras. I don't know which one to look at. Okay, let's move on to the spotlights and the micro crystal clear and the silver paint. Okay. Now, I just mixed up our silver paint here a few minutes ago. I think it'll probably be easier for me if I put it on the rotator, and that way I don't need to go position all the way around. I can just hold my hand in the same convenient angle all the way. I don't think we need to have it rotating though as I'm trying to paint, although that might be worth a try. It's pretty much in the dead center. Okay. I wonder how that would work. That actually might work really well. that might actually work really well. Let's stick on the macro lens and see what kind of a mess we're going to make here. Okay, that's maybe a little bit too much. I'll try and get a little bit off of the brush there. Alright, start at the center and just sort of move out to the edge. I'd like to keep the ring that is supporting the glass alright, let's see if we can get rid of those bubbles. Alright, now we'll get the other one on. Hope the other one's centered like that. That one's pretty good. Yeah, I looked at the screen, that wasn't bad. Okay, I won't bother putting any more paint on my brush here. I'll just... Oh, I went too far down. Well, may as well do it that way all the way around now. I guess maybe I have to get a sample just a little bit more paint here. Okay, now we'll let that dry, and then we'll put a little bit of micro crystal clear, right, try and get it just on the dome part of this.
Hi, Ron.
Good morning. So just hold on here, Missy.
You ready?
We are ready. Oh, that disappeared in a hurry, didn't it? Your appetizer. Yeah, sit down, Missy. That's a good dog.
Yeah, she was sick in my den yesterday. And she threw up, but it was all clear white stuff, so...
Oh, really? I wonder what she ate.
She got a bit of a flu or what. But she seems to be walking fine and eating fine, so...
It could be she ate something, you know, when she was out and about.
Very possible. She's pretty quick. Especially at night, but, you know, you can't see.
Yeah.
A black dog on a black lawn could be doing anything. How's your day going?
So far, so good. Yeah.
Good.
So far, so good. Yeah.
I think I'm going to get to the EGM and see my accountant. I think My anemia is healed enough. It's almost up to normal, so I'll go square dancing tomorrow night. That'll be a test.
That'll be interesting.
2.5 hours flying around the room. Yeah. But it'll be fun. It's been a long time since I've done something that was actually just fun. You know? No other redeeming characteristics. It's just fun.
Time to go, eh, Missy? Time to go.
Thank you, Ron.
Okay, thanks for coming. See you at 3:30?
Yeah, 3:30.
Bye, Missy. Well, are we going to get rid of any snow today? It's slowly going. Missy the dog. Missy the dog. Okay. Get this turned off here so I don't have to shout. I guess it's well over half an hour ago when we painted these up, so I would think that it's probably safe to try and apply the microcrystal clear now, being as it's been under the fan. Now the fan has been on low, not as hot as it'll go, but I think it's dry enough. Let's put a little bit of microcrystal clear in one of our little cups here, and yeah, see what we can do. Okay, it's almost noon here, I think. Yeah, and quite a bit of time obviously has passed here, and I put the heater back on to our rotating blocks here, and I'm quite convinced that this is dry enough now that it's not going to have any adverse effect by putting the microcrystal clear on. Now what I did do was I took this back into the back room and I put it in the paint shaker and I shook it up. Now it doesn't say anywhere shake before using, but it's been a long time since I've used it. I don't know what the shelf life of something like this is. It's possible when I try to squeeze it out here, nothing's going to come. Oh yeah, it's going to. You know what? I thought that this had one of those applicators, you know, where it had a little tiny hole, and I was going to have to squeeze it out. But I can see I can just dip my Gabe swab without the swab just right in there. So that's good. I'll put this back on. Keep the moisture out of there. What do we got going on here? No, I guess that's all right. Okay, let's get our. Now we'll get the macro lens on. Yeah, that was a surprise. I don't know why I thought it just had I was going to have to squeeze it out into something. I guess it's been so long since I've used it, I've forgotten. All right, let's get this on. Okay, for those of you who have never used this before, it goes on opaque, and then maybe that's too much. And then it dries clear. Now what's going to happen here? Oh, I think that's too much, isn't it? See, maybe I get some off. I'm going to get one of Gabe's swabs here. Okay, maybe just sort of smear that around a little bit before it starts to dry. Maybe if I was to, wonder what would happen if I used the rotating system here. Let me just get it, turn it on here. Okay, it's possible that when that dries, it's going to look alright. I had wanted it, didn't want it to go over the edge, but I want it to look even as well, so I'm just trying to smear it out here a little bit. I guess if I was used to, as they say, throwing a pot in pottery, I might be better at this. Okay, now hopefully that when that dries, it's going to look good. Let's get the other one very carefully here. Maybe I'll put a little less on the other one. Okay. I wonder where these are going to go on the ship. Probably on the edge somewhere, on the side. Oh, I got some on the whatever that is. Come on. Maybe I'll just see if I can. Just like to fill in that little gap there if I could. Alright, I think that's going to sort of settle down a little bit. Okay, we'll let these dry. It's probably going to take quite a while, probably overnight, or maybe even longer because it's so thick. But I think it will clear. You know, that weld bond glue, it might do the same thing. But I think this is actually better. Okay, we are basically done step 7 here now. There's not a whole lot more we can do with the anchor chains until after everything is more in place. And but we still have these things to contend with. And I'll just carefully put this over out of the way for time being. Yeah, and these should have been put on. I'm going to figure out which way they're supposed to go now. They should have been put on before we painted the hull, but I didn't. We'll stick the macro lens on, but we're going to do that tomorrow. I'm gonna call her a day here. It's been kind of a fun morning, actually. I don't know why. But we did get something accomplished here. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to call her quits here for today. Yesterday I did go down and put the first coat of paint on my bike box extension. I'd like to get the second coat on this afternoon if I can before Max comes over at 3:30 for coffee. So yeah, I'm gonna wind her up here and see what happens. Thanks for watching, everybody, and all being well, we're gonna see you tomorrow.